How's it going, everyone? This is Ryan with Automatic Comics, and up next I've got my weekly comic haul. It's a lot bigger than last week's. I've got about $8,000 in books from gold, silver, bronze, copper age, so really excited to get in this. Stay tuned. Alright, before we get started, please remember to hit that like button and hit the subscribe button if you'd like to see more content like this. I was getting some comments last week that my comic haul was a little smaller than normal. I didn't have as many books coming in as normal, and I feel like I'm making up for it this week. So I've got a lot of books, some awesome keys in this, and I recommend staying to the end because I have a huge book that's in one of these boxes. It is a Golden Age first appearance that I am really excited about. Like I said, it's gold, silver, bronze, and I think there's some copper age books in here. So I'm gonna get into these and we'll talk about these books. Alright, so the first two books here, really excited to get both of these. One of them I just talked about on a video I did with Bryce Comics talking about undervalued Fantastic Four keys. And that's one of the problems with making those videos is I start seeing books that I'm like, oh, that book's really good to pick up right now, and I start going out and finding them and spending money on them. But did that here. This was a great price for this book, and this is Fantastic Four Annual Number 1. And it's a low-grade copy. I think it was sold as about a 1.5, which I would say is definitely, probably sounds pretty accurate. You've got tape on the spine, everything like that, but it is complete, and it actually presents pretty well for the grade. The cover looks, relatively nice. And so the reason I had talked about why I think this is such an undervalued key is that everybody knows about Fantastic Four number 4 and number 6, which are his first and second appearances, as well as Submariner number 1, which is just his first solo title, which has just been skyrocketing in price along with issues 4 and 6. But this book has kind of been going under the radar, and it's his origin, and that's kind of that trend that I've talked about before, where once the first and second appearances, solo stories get bought up, people start going to things like origins and covers, and he's on the cover. It's a great cover, and it's also his origin. It is also a very early appearance of Spider-Man. This is, I think I went back and I was talking with my brother about it. I think it ended up, we said it was about his 6th appearance, something around there. And so an extremely early appearance of Spider-Man. You've got him on the cover there with Dr. Doom as well, down here in the corner. And so there's multiple great things about this book. So if you can come across this book and pick it up for a reasonable price, definitely recommend going after that one. Now, the other one, honestly, is a book I didn't think I was going to really be able to get much anymore because prices had gone up a lot, and I've had, 7, 8 copies, including a 9.2 that I've sold all of them. And this one, it was a great price from the same seller, decided to pick it up, and it is Fantastic Four Annual Number 6. And sold it as, I think, like a mid-grade copy. I think it was like a 5 or a 5.5. And, I'd say that's again, pretty accurate. It's got some creasing along the spine. I'll have to take a look at it afterwards to see for sure, but the reason this book is so important is that it is the first appearance of this guy on the cover, this green guy, Annihilus, and he could be a potential villain in the future when we're talking about cosmic Marvel villains. And I really like this cover. You've got Annihilus right on the front. It's a cool red cover, and when it's in decent shape like this, it looks really sharp. Now this one, like I said, it has some creasing along the spine, but no big creasing going across the cover, so it presents pretty well. Now, let's get into this next book. Alright, so second book, a little too much tape with this packaging. Now, this is another one where I've talked about how to get some discounted prices on books, and this is one that I saw on eBay, but it was a My Comic Shop book, if you see the My Comic Shop logo, so I just went onto My Comic Shop and bought it there for about 10% less. So I just showed this book. This was Fantastic Four Annual Number 1. picked up a second copy. This one's a little bit nicer. I think it was graded about a 3.5. And I'm always, 3.5. And I'm always comfortable with my comic shop's grading. They're accurate with their grading. You can trust them with their raw books. So, picked up 2 of these. I didn't have any copies, and now I've got 2. And I think this is a great speculation book to pick up right now. Don't need to talk about it really anymore because I already said why I think this book is important. So now we'll get into the next one. Alright, now if you watched my last video, I did an unboxing from a seller that I hadn't bought from before, and I was happy with the books I got, so I decided to buy some more books from them, and I picked up 4 books. And first one is a book that is super hot right now, and I picked it up right before it started heating up, so I'm pretty happy about that. And this is Marvel Spotlight, number 32. This is the first appearance of Spider-Woman, and this book is just absolutely exploding because there's a lot of kind of speculation news around this character getting their own properties now, and so this book has just gone through the roof across all grades, and so really happy to pick up a copy of this book. I've had one before, but I've sold it in the past, and so this is the only copy that I have right now. Now, the next book, this is in the horror genre for Marvel, and these have been getting very popular recently as well. And this is Marvel Spotlight number 2, which is the first appearance of Werewolf by Night. And this is it's a really low grade copy. He graded it around a 2, I believe, 2.5, because he said there was a large spine split on the bottom. But in general, it presents really well. The colors look really nice. There's a little tear up here, but no big creasing or anything on the cover. And that's one of the things I always like to look for. If you can have a lower grade book that still presents well, it's a big positive, because when you're talking about low grade books, how they present makes a big difference on their value. It's not quite as simple as just a 2 is worth this or a 3 is worth this. If there's tons of creasing or a big piece missing from the front, it takes away a lot from that book, whereas a book like this, even if it's a lower grade, actually presents well and can command a little bit more money for that book. Now, another one was one that I also bought just in time. So this is a nice looking copy. I'm happy with this copy. This is Submariner number 1, and I was just talking about this book, and I bought it right before that announcement that they were kind of saying that Submariner is going to be coming as the villain for the next Black Panther movie. And I believe it was graded around a fine, like a 6.0, and it looks really nice. I mean, there's some little bit of creasing in the corner. There's some corner, or there's some spine wear, that kind of thing, but this is a really nice presenting copy. And so, very happy with this book. It's one of those things where it's just, if you buy all the time, you get lucky every once in a while, and I'm buying all the time, and I basically bought this, I think, about the day before that announcement came out, so really happy to get that one. Now, this last one is a Golden Age book. This is a pre-code horror book, and this one's pretty cool. It's a relatively gruesome cover. This is Chamber of Chills, number 22, and it's a nice presenting copy. He sold it as a 4.5. I'll have to take a closer look at it, but it looks nice. It's got nice colors, no big creases. There may be some spine issues or issues on the back cover. It's one of those things when you're doing live claim sales, you don't really get to evaluate the book yourself, and so that's why it is important to understand how that person you're buying from grades. And so whether you think that their grading is accurate or overgrading or undergrading, as long as you know how that person traditionally grades, you can make price estimates on books based on that. So that's what's important. It's the same as on eBay. On eBay, a lot of times you'll see that people overgrade their books, but if you know how to grade books, it doesn't matter. You just price based on what that book actually is, not what the person says it is. But this one, you can see, creepy guy on the front, with a guy on basically like a stretcher, and pretty gruesome cover. It would definitely be one of these books that's worth a lot more if it was a woman instead of a guy on the cover. It's just the way it is with pricing of these pre-code books, but still, it is a great book, and just right before the Comic Code Authority was put into place. This was in 1954, and that was put in place, I believe, around the end of that year or 1955. So right on the edge of the Comic Code Authority being established. All right, now getting into this last box, and there is a huge key in here, so I'm really excited to get into this one. All right, so like I said, there is a really big book in here. I'm super excited about picking up, but that one I'm going to save to the end. First book though, book I will always buy whenever I see it as what I think is a good deal, and that is Avengers Annual Number 10. This is the first appearance of Rogue, and I just think she's such a popular character. It's just a huge book to get. If she ever shows up, or when she shows up, this book will just continue to rise. And you know, I always go for 9.6s or 9.8s if I can get them with this, because there are a lot of these out there, so it's good to have them in a highest grade as possible. And it's one of those books that I see the price fluctuate a lot, and so it's a great book to kind of like try to pick up on the low end and sell on the higher end. I see the price of this book move up and down all the time, and you just kind of have to play the swings with that book. Now the next one I actually picked up 2 copies of, because I mean, you saw I picked up 2 copies of Fantastic Four Annual Number 1. I'm not against having multiple copies of books, especially when I think it's a good deal when I bought it. And this is X-Men Annual Number 14, and this is the first appearance of Gambit. Now, a very controversial first appearance of Gambit, because he's on multiple panels, all of that, but it's called a cameo. You know, it says Fantastic Four and Ahab appearance, Gambit cameo, predates Uncanny X-Men 266. And so it's still marked as a cameo. X-Men 266 is marked as the first full appearance, and but this book has been getting a lot more expensive recently. It was always just like a couple $100, and it's getting in a 9.8 quite a bit more than that now. So good book to have. I mean, it's always one of those things where when there's a cameo and a full or whatever you want to look at it, just pick up both of them if you can, and then you don't have to worry about it. You don't have to argue about it. But yeah, so 9.4 and 9.8, I thought they were great prices, so I ended up buying both of them. Now the next one, this is one that I was very excited to get. This is not the big one yet though, and I'll tell you why. And this is All-American Comics number 85. And this is a book from 1947, and it is a Golden Age first appearance. It's the first appearance of Sportsmaster, but he's not Sportsmaster yet. He's called Crusher Croc, but it's the character that becomes Sportsmaster. And if you've watched some of my videos in the past, you know that Sportsmaster is one of my favorite characters. A friend at work went to McDonald's, and they brought this back, but it came with these too, and they knew I was a fan of these characters, that kind of stuff. But it came with Batman and the Flash, and it's like everybody knows who Batman and the Flash are, but I was like, who the heck is this guy? and why is he with Batman and the Flash? You know, you've got 2 of the biggest superheroes that exist in DC, and then you've got this guy with like a catcher's mitt. And so I looked him up, and I found out it was Sportsmaster, and he has some really funny, great covers from the Gold and Silver Age, and this is his first appearance. I've been trying to get a copy of this for a while. This is his first appearance, and this is the book I've shown before. This is Brave and the Bold number 62, which is this cover with him on it, and he's hitting Starman in the face with a rocket ski, which I love it. I love this cover. This cover is amazing. And so this is probably like an 8.5 or something. It's a nice copy of this book. But yeah, so I have this one, and he has some other appearances as well that are real great cover appearances, but this is his first appearance. So I was really happy to get a shot to pick this book up. Now, for the last book, and like I said, this is a huge one. This is a big Golden Age first appearance, and this is Wonder Woman number 6. And this is the first appearance of Cheetah, and again, this is a rare first appearance. She is right on the cover, which is awesome. This is a book from 1943, so old Wonder Woman book. It's a lower grade, but it does not matter. This book is incredible. And you can see, if something just disappeared behind me, it goes very well with this book. So I have Wonder Woman #1, and then Wonder Woman #6. And I mean, in the Wonder Woman run, I don't know if there are bigger books than these two. I think these are the two biggest books in the Wonder Woman run. Obviously, it's not her first appearance with Wonder Woman's All-Star Comics 8. That's her biggest book. And then you've got Sensation Comics #1, and there's a couple big keys in Sensation, but within Wonder Woman, you know, it's like Wonder Woman #1, just awesome first book in the series, great cover, and then first appearance of a big villain for her, Cheetah. Unfortunately, was not portrayed real great in the movie. Great until the end. I actually liked that character until the end when they turned her into the Cheetah. She didn't look that great, but awesome cover. Super excited to pick up that book. I was very happy to have a chance to do it, and that's one of those things. You know, I feel like it was undervalued at that point because people were kind of down on the movie when I picked this up. But it's one of those things that it's, you know, it's first appearance of Cheetah. It's a golden age. Don't let movie performance get to you. That book is eventually going to come back, and it's still a huge key from the golden age. So really excited to get that. So if you enjoyed this video, please hit that like button, hit the subscribe button if you'd like to see more content like this. I've got videos over here to click on, and subscription button down here. So really appreciate if you do that, if you made it to the end here, and I will see you in the next video.